Picture this. It's 1:35 in the morning in Mumbai, high up on the 17th floor of some glass and steel tower. A forensic auditor, Aryan Khanna, is staring at a screen. He's deep into the financial records of a very powerful politician, Vikram Dev Chauhan. Now, officially, this is all just a routine audit, but Aryan's got this feeling, because the numbers, they're starting to whisper a story that was absolutely never meant to be told. And that whisper, it's about to become a roar. So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you solve a perfect crime? Because when you're dealing with this kind of power, crimes aren't messy. They're not mistakes. They're masterpieces of deception. The real challenge isn't just finding a flaw, it's seeing the truth that's been deliberately hidden behind that perfect, polished facade. And you know what first tipped Aryan off? The books were just too clean. Every single entry, every donation, every bit of income, all the election funds, it was all documented perfectly. I mean, too perfectly. See, in the real world of high-stakes finance, things are messy. There are always inconsistencies, a ledger this pristine. That wasn't a sign of honesty. That was a dead giveaway of a very sophisticated disguise. Okay, so Aryan starts pulling at the one loose thread he can find. It's a series of small but really frequent transactions. The money is flowing out to a handful of companies that, on the surface, they look totally normal, completely ordinary. But as any good investigator will tell you, the biggest secrets, they're always hiding in the tiniest details.
And here they are. Check out these names. Shri Balaji Traders, Omkar Exports, Rudra Infrastructure Services. They're the names that just kept popping up over and over. They sound so mundane, right? So forgettable. And that is exactly the point. They are designed to be overlooked. But Aryan, he didn't overlook them.
So he digs into the official registry data, and this is where he hits pay dirt. He finds this bizarre pattern. The directors' names are all nearly identical. You've got Rajesh Kumar, Rakesh Kumar, and Ritesh Kumar. And their registered addresses, they all point to locations in various slums. A quick field check confirmed it. These companies were ghosts. The people listed as directors, phantoms. These were classic textbook shell corporations. All right, so knowing the companies were fake, that's one thing. But the real question, the one that matters, is where did all that money go from there? And this is where the investigation blows up from a local problem into a massive global puzzle. The trail was about to get a whole lot more complicated. So the money didn't just vanish. Oh no. It was meticulously washed through this global labyrinth. It's like a world tour for dirty money. First, it pools in those Indian shell accounts we just talked about. Then, it's wired to Singapore. From there, it's rerouted through Dubai. And where does it finally land? Of course, the Cayman Islands, a place famous for its financial secrecy. Every single one of these international hops was a deliberate move to break the chain of evidence. Now, here's the kicker. This wasn't just random movement of cash. When Aryan mapped these transfers against a political calendar, the purpose became chillingly clear. The money flowed strategically. Big transfers right before elections, another wave just before major policy announcements, and then payments right after large government land deals were approved. This wasn't just about hiding money anymore. This was about weaponizing it.
And then another clue. A single, massive transaction just jumps off the page, coming from a Dubai account. 18 crore. That's over $2 million US, labeled as a consultancy fee. A payment this big led the investigation to a brand new mysterious player.
The money went to a London-based firm called Apex Advisory Group. But when Aryan looked into it, guess what? You found another ghost. It had no website, no public profile, nothing. And the registry document showed it was owned by an anonymous trust. It was just another dead end. Another layer of the onion, all designed to make the real owner impossible to find. And this is the moment the investigation stops being about numbers on a screen. Leaving his office late one night, Aryan spots a black SUV in the parking lot, just sitting there, watching him. It's clear he was being followed. The people behind this whole system, they knew he was getting close, and they were starting to send a message. The very next morning, the threat became way more explicit. An anonymous envelope was just sitting on his desk. And inside, this one single chilling line. It was a crystal clear warning. Stop digging. But, for an investigator like Aryan, a threat like this isn't a reason to stop. It's confirmation that you are absolutely on the right track. But they weren't done. The psychological pressure then ramped up to a direct threat on his life. He gets a call from an unknown number. This calm, cold voice tells him to stop the audit. When Aryan asks what would happen if he doesn't, this is the reply he gets. The message was unmistakable. Drop this, or you will be silenced. Permanently. So he's being followed. He's getting death threats. And despite all that, Aryan pushed forward. He just knew he was right on the verge of uncovering the final piece of this whole puzzle, the ultimate beneficiary. Who was really on the receiving end of all this laundered money after its long journey around the world?
The answer, it turns out, was hidden inside something called a beneficiary trust. It's a tool the ultra-wealthy use all the time. Basically, think of it like a legal lockbox that lets someone control and benefit from all these assets without technically owning them. It provides this powerful shield of anonymity. And when Aryan finally broke through that last layer of legal secrecy, he found the name he'd been looking for all along. The ultimate beneficiary was the V.D. Chauhan Trust. The money, after its trip across the entire globe, had come full circle. It landed right back with the very same politician whose flawless books had started this whole thing.
You'd think that's the end of the story, right? Case closed. Well, you'd be wrong. In fact, this is where the real story actually begins. See, Aryan had uncovered one politician's corrupt scheme, but a hidden file he'd found hinted that this was just one tiny part of a much, much larger operation. Deep within the servers, Aryan found a hidden ledger, a simple Excel file named bf_route_master.xlsx. But it wasn't just a list of transactions. Oh no, it was the entire system's blueprint. It contained the names of other government ministers, powerful business tycoons, even foreign entities, the whole network. And sitting right there at the top of this master file was a code name, Origin X. In that instant, Aryan realized everything. He hadn't just exposed one man's fraud. He had stumbled upon the blueprint for an entire shadow system, a coordinated network of corruption operating on a scale he could barely even comprehend. And so this is the question we're left with, isn't it? Aryan Khanna set out to audit one man's accounts, and he ended up holding the key to a conspiracy that could shake the very foundations of power. So what do? What happens when you realize the monster you've been fighting is infinitely larger and more dangerous than you ever